massive day for the unemployed. Fart Sniffer 69 on Reddit just made a post about how he doesn't like lolly hentai, and Mr. Glizzy Gobbler 5346 called him an anime tourist. Fart Sniffer 69 is devastated by this and says he, quote, is bout to slime his entire family and his homeboy's family, and then game end himself. Anyways, back to Maria for the afternoon weather. I hear it's gonna be a pretty warm day today in Boston, 15 degrees Fahrenheit. That's basically beach weather. This shit is what it feels like whenever I see people calling each other tourists on the internet. Two retards fighting, two tortoises headbutting each other for 15 weeks straight until one of them finally breaks the skull and kills the other one. Back in the old days when we were still banging sticks and rocks together and when the Pringles logo didn't look like shit, yeah, back then, hobbies like gaming and anime mostly gatekept themselves. You see, the gaming community has pretty much been open to anyone regardless of race, sex, or whether you like cock or not. But when you see Anthony from science class, who always smells like uncooked ground beef, and he asks you if you've seen the latest episode of Naruto Shippuden, you either channel your inner Chinese man and act like you can't see shit, nor understand what he's saying, or take his lunch tray and hurl it across the room. Either one is acceptable, but making a choice is necessary. After all, if white girl number 345, aka Becky from chemistry class, figures out that you even know Goku's name, your chances of procreating with her go from a staggering 1.6% to a crushing 0. But then, the early 2010s came around, and suddenly, anime is cool, as long as it's a battle shonen. There's nothing more manly than watching two buff men beat the shit out of each other. Instead of getting your lunch tray hurled at the window, you're having your Yu-Gi-Oh card stolen. Fast forward again, and suddenly, everyone's into anime. Your mom watched the entirety of Death Note. Your dad no longer sees Dragon Ball Z as, quote-unquote, two grown men screaming until they go blonde. Your dog is an avid Dragon Quest player who has beaten every single game in the mainline series. Twice. The problem is, the golden rule of any fanbase is that the bigger it gets, the more it fucking sucks. This is particularly apparent with any battle shonen that has a protagonist with a voice actor that makes it sound like they are taking furious veiny dick in the studio during every single recording session. Case points include My Hero Academia. God forbid I watch my show about high schoolers killing terrorists without some goofball on Twitter talking about how Deku is low-key lesbian coded. I don't know what that means, nor do I want to. Also, fuck it, Demon Slayer. I already have to deal with Zenitsu's incessant bitching and moaning. I don't need a social justice warrior in the quote retweets talking about how the pink-haired girl is over-sexualized. Honestly, if seeing some tits repulses you this much, might I recommend the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But whatever you do, do not read Stone Ocean. I don't think you could take it. However, I wouldn't call any of these people tourists per se. Now you might be asking, why do you think calling people tourists is stupid? Thanks for asking. It only took you like 3 whole minutes to do so. Before I answer that, I do want to tell you guys that there are times where calling someone a tourist is pretty accurate. Forgive me, but I'm about to put on the nerd glasses here for a second. For reference, a tourist would be someone who only really knows surface level things about insert media here, but assumes they know more than they actually do. They most likely don't actually care about the media, but still want to change it despite not understanding it. For instance, a Marvel tourists might say, why are there so many timelines and continuities of Marvel comics? They should just reboot the entire thing and restart with one aligned continuity. This completely disregards the fact that different continuities tell different stories and have different messages. The original comics from the 60s are obviously not going to have the same message as the comics that came out around 9/11. Different time, different atmosphere. And of course, this also counts for any other number of bad opinions one may have. The problem is when people start pointing the tourism allegations at other parts of the fan base. So now, it's time for us to talk about childhood. The lolicon debate is simple. People act like it isn't, but it really is. If you wink to kids, you're a pedo. Not right now, because the ones you're winking to aren't real. Yet. But studies into porn addiction have shown numerous times that when addicted to pornography, people gradually start seeking out more and more weird-ass fetishes. And if we put our thinking caps on for a second, this logically applies to stuff like lolly as well. Eventually that won't be enough, which is how we get furries walking around with fat fetish avatars in the same VR chat world where a kid is testing out his new Oculus that his mom got him for Christmas. So while I hesitate to call someone who hasn't actually engaged in harmful behavior a pedophile, you have to understand that this is a path that points in a direction progression that I'm not comfortable with. That's my take. Now that we're all on the same page and all of the Minecraft YouTubers have left a dislike on the video, we can talk about how this relates to the overall topic of tourism. I have a few examples that I have in my head, and honestly, if these shows were in live action, we'd essentially be getting a new cutie situation every single damn season. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Alright, I've gotta confess something. This show was the first anime I ever watched on Crunchyroll back in the first year of middle school, and I mostly still do like it, but god damn is the manga author weird. Now, if you've ever seen it, it's a slice of life show where a drunk woman pulls a sword out of a dragon, asks, "You wanna stay with me, dragon?" and then passes out, and the dragon is attached to her now. I'm not a very good storyteller, just watch the first few minutes of the first episode or search it up. It's definitely on YouTube somewhere. Anyways, this show has two tourism controversies that I want to talk about. The first is the one where localizers completely fucked up the translation for several scenes, namely this one with Lukua. Yeah, there's no way in hell that translates one-to-one in Japanese. In fact, I know it doesn't because I googled it myself, and this isn't even close to the only time that's happened with an anime as well. According to an article I read, this also happened with this weird-ass show named Inukai-san's Dog, which I highly recommend you not to watch, but apparently the localizers were ticked off about having to localize this, and low-key, I would be too. This shit is weird, but that doesn't give you the grounds to completely botch your own job. Like, that's like being pissed off that you work at McDonald's and got a slightly weird order where somebody wants extra mayonnaise, God forbid, so in response, you give him a milkshake or something that's completely not what he asked for. I don't remember ordering my french fries with extra pickles, but fuck me, I guess. The second tourism controversy is one that's a little bit more nuanced. This is Ululu. She's a character from the show. Now, aside from the obvious assets, this bitch is 12 years old, and I've read the manga. I know the defenders will come and say, well, actually, that's not her real age. That's just her age in relative human development time. In real time, she's basically ancient. Yeah. She's actually 3,000 years old. We've all heard it before. Now, explain to me why the character with the body of a middle schooler has massive tits. It's because she can't control her magic, so it's stored in there. Okay. Alright, so what I see happening is the author wanted the middle schooler to have huge knockers and created that sorry-ass excuse to explain why she needs them. I referenced some of his other works, and it's safe to say he has a thing for this sort of stuff. Not to mention the part where Kana and her friend play Twister in the most sus way imaginable. I don't even want to remember that. Why'd you make me remember that? Like and sub to make me forget, please. Thank you. You're telling me that the manga can have an entire tournament arc, but we can't get a chapter where Ululu learns to control her magic so that she isn't prancing around as a middle schooler with WMDs strapped to her chest? Maybe that's coming in the future, but even if it does, it really doesn't explain why she ever had them to begin with. This is the part where a certain type of person would call me a tourist. Somebody who doesn't understand the author's vision for what he wants his art to be. And if that makes me a tourist, so be it. All I know is that I enjoy this manga, but I would enjoy it a hell of a lot more if this shit didn't happen. And that brings me to my final point. Why is the tourism insult fucking stupid? Because retards will inevitably take this word and misuse it to brand you as not a real fan of whatever it is. If you don't like something that the majority of the fan base sees no issue with, you're a tourist. You can't just like something for one thing but dislike another thing about it. No, you're a tourist. You can't bring up the fact that you enjoy the story and world building of a show, but don't like seeing a BioWare Fade to Black bang cutscene with miners. Mushoku Tensei. Nope, you're a tourist. Believe it or not, people can be fans of something without liking everything about it. Early Dragon Ball was a good show, but if you ask the creator of Dragon Ball why he had Chi-Chi as a child wearing a bikini, I don't think he'd be able to defend that, especially in this day and age. I'm not saying that these mistakes are something that they should be locked up for. Hell no, that'll be dumb. As long as we can all collectively look back on that stuff and say, yeah, that shit was kind of weird. That'll be good enough for me. Wow. That was a long-ass rant. Like, I thought that this would be just a quick 5-minute thing, but I'm fairly certain this video is going to be a little longer than that. Anyways, in conclusion, please like and subscribe if anything I've said today has made you think. My channel is currently on live support, and any support you could give me would be appreciated. On the other hand, if you think I'm retarded and want my channel to die, feel free to leave a dislike. That's all for now, and yeah, see ya.
This a 2G Glock, on the phone finna catch this 2G pop. I'm on tour pouring up every pit stop. Nigga reach for this chain, get shit pop.